Floodwaters still causing huge problems in Colorado. Now Task Force One stands ready to help. How one Columbia group is using music to create silence.
And it's week 3 of Friday Night Fever. Oh my, are the pulled pork sandwiches good in Ashland? It's Soboco versus School of the Osage. KOMU 8 News at 6 starts now.
From Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
That's the sound of rushing water as floods devastate parts of Colorado. A break in the weather today gave crews time to evaluate the floods, which claimed the lives of at least 3 people. Good evening, I'm Meg McLeod. The floods have stranded homeowners, canceled classes, and closed roads. One group of Missourians may get the chance to help in the rescue of those stranded there. KOMU 8's Nick Chabaria is live outside the Boone County Fire Protection District with the status of Missouri Task Force One. Nick?
Well, all is quiet behind me here at the Boone County Fire Protection District, where Missouri Task Force One is playing the waiting game. Now, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, put the task force on standby early this morning, meaning that the task force should be ready to go at a moment's notice. However, that force has not yet heard back from FEMA whether they will be going out to the Colorado area to help in the search and rescue efforts in the flood that has devastated much of the state. Now, the task force does train for a lot of scenarios, but they haven't had to deal with flooding much.
No matter what the disaster, Missouri Task Force One is ready.
We could be doing searches inside of structures that have been damaged or destroyed. We could be doing water rescues off of boats.
When it comes to floods, it may be treading water.
Anytime you're working in or around water that has a lot of debris and a lot of unknowns within that water, you can't see them.
That's because rescues in moving water require an entirely different force.
When these waters drop in the mountains of Colorado and come down these canyons, it's moving at a high rate of speed.
Luckily, the task force has the right tools for the job. To deal with flood situations, the task force deploys 5 trailers full of supplies, boats, buses, and a command vehicle. But those mean nothing without boots on the ground, or in this case, the water.
So we have all types of disciplines that go out on this 80-person team to make it as all hazards as you can make it.
No matter what the situation, the objective stays the same.
To go out and help and be able to return all these people back to their own families here in the state of Missouri, that's a success.
Now, previous deployments for Missouri Task Force One include New York after 9/11, New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and Virginia after Hurricane Sandy. And as we said, the task force is still waiting to hear back from FEMA on whether they will be sent out to Colorado. Reporting live in Columbia, Nick Chabaria, KOMU 8 News.
And now to a different fire department. The Columbia Fire Department is investigating an afternoon house fire. Columbia Fire Battalion Chief James Weaver tells KOMU 8 News firefighters quickly put out the fire after they arrived on the scene on Florence Avenue. According to initial reports, no one was inside and there were no injuries. Firefighters say the fire was caused by a heat gun while stripping paint. The damage is estimated to be $40,000. It's looking like a beautiful night for some Friday Night Fever. Let's check in with Dave, Chris, and Jim live from the Southern Boone High School.
I don't know what's better, the weather here at Soboco or the pulled pork sandwiches.
I'm going to go with the pork right now.
That's the weather guy.
I know, that's saying something.
Although the weather is fantastic. Clear, sunny. I think we're right about 73 right now, and at 7 o'clock kickoff time rolls around upper 60s. So it's really good.
What's the low going to be tonight?
I think we'll get in the upper 40s. Many mid-Missouri locations will be about 48.
What about the game tonight, Chris?
Should be a good one. Both these teams hungry for a victory. School of the Osage is 0-2 to start the season. Southern Boone 1-1 after a big comeback win a week ago against Holton Catholic. So 2 hungry teams. It's game 3. They feel it's time to get in that win column.
Hungry. You got a little barbecue sauce
Do
on.
I? No, nothing new there, but thank you. I don't know why.
Much more from Ashland. For now, we'll send it back to the studio.
The controversial Obama clown will perform for the first time since the Missouri State Fair. Tuffy Gessling made national headlines after portraying President Obama at the fair. Some called the performance racist and disrespectful. His employer said he didn't believe Gessling did anything wrong. Gessling will perform at 7:30 tonight at the Cole County Fairgrounds in Jefferson City. We'll have more at KOMU 8 News at 9 and 10. Columbia police have released the 48-year-old man they detained Thursday for allegedly exposing himself by Shepherd Elementary. This afternoon, the school decided to keep its students indoors for recess because of his release. Columbia police did not have enough evidence to arrest the man, according to school principal Jackie Ward. Detectives with the police department came back to the school this morning to interview students about the incident. Yesterday, students said they saw a man who looked naked standing by a blue van in the park by the school. Ward says police are patrolling the area and wants parents to know students are safe.
We're a family. Our vision says that, but you can put anything on paper, but we're proving it with our actions and that family unit, and we're in it together, and we'll get through anything.
The Columbia Police Department encourages everyone to report any suspicious activity. The Blue Note is hosting a Silence the Violence benefit concert right now in an attempt to make downtown Columbia safer. KOMU8's Lauren Bale is outside the venue and joins us live with more on how organizers will try to help curb crime.
The Silence the Violence concert started about a half hour ago right behind me in the Blue Note. Acting in response to summer violence, the Blue Note partnered with United Way to put on the concert and try to make Columbia safer.
You know, it's something that you don't like to see happening anywhere in the city of Columbia, let alone downtown.
Concerns about a string of summer shootings in Columbia prompted the Blue Note owner, Richard King, to take matters into his own hands and try to make downtown Columbia less violent.
Because I do think it affects the entire city of Columbia.
One of those shootings happened right here on 10th and Broadway, just a block from the Blue Note. King says the violence has hurt local businesses.
One of the things that we strive for is to make this a safe environment for people to come down and have a good time. And I think the worst that could ever happen is to scare people away.
King partnered with United Way to put together the Silence the Violence benefit concert to raise money for programs aimed at helping teens and decreasing violence.
It's definitely our concern here at United Way to make sure that we are raising that awareness and taking a stand on it.
Columbians say they like seeing the community come together to try and solve the issue.
I think it's great. There's been obviously a lot of violence lately, especially downtown Columbia, a lot of gang stuff, and definitely it's a good thing for the community to step up and do something about it.
The concert goes until 8 tonight. A half hour before the concert started, over 50 people were already here buying tickets. Reporting live in Columbia, Lauren Bale, KOMU8 News.
Today, former Missouri House Speaker Tim Jones independently confirmed to KOMU8 News he plans to run for state office in 2016. The Republican representative told KOMU8 News he wants to run for Attorney General. Jones currently represents the St. Louis suburb of Eureka in the Missouri House. The Missouri Department of Economic Development is giving the Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri some additional help. The food bank will get $250,000 in Neighborhood Assistance Program tax credits. The credits will allow the food bank to solicit donors who can then get a tax deduction as well as a 50% credit. It will also allow the food bank to get up to $500,000 from possible donors. The food bank's executive director says she is excited about the approved tax credits.
What would the money mean for us? It's going to allow us to acquire and distribute more food. And right now what we're seeing is an explosive growth in people needing food assistance.
Last year, the food bank received a similar amount in tax credits, and enough donors came forward to use up all those tax credits in 2 weeks. Turns out many Columbia residents aren't reducing, reusing, or recycling. Coming up, what some say is to blame for the lack of green.
Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather.
Good evening, Mid-Missouri. It's 6:11, and here's a quick look at your weather right now across the nation. Time for your weather IQ. And today's question: how much salt is used on average for the roadways in the U.S. each winter? A, 100,000 tons, B, 1 million tons, or C, 10 million tons. What do you think?
I'm going to go for C, 10 million tons.
You are exactly right. The answer is C, 10 million tons. And if you think about it, a grain of sand, a little tiny grain of sand is less than 1 gram. So that's a lot of little grains out there to make up 10 million tons.
All right, thanks, Kenton. We'll be right back. Reduce, reuse, recycle. It's a phrase we've all heard. However, the majority of Columbia residents don't do it. KOMU8's Caroline Hecker took a deeper look into this trend and serves up a possible solution to the problem.
Recycling. It's a way we've learned we can help care for the planet. And it seems easy enough. Plastics, glass, aluminum, and paper. Separate them into their own containers and put them at the curb with the trash. For residents like Kelly Pressler, recycling has been a lifelong routine.
I've been recycling as long as I can remember. My mom has always been a very big advocate of recycling, so now that I have my own place, I want to continue recycling.
Columbia's slogan for recycling is, "It's so easy to recycle." But apparently in Columbia, it's not easy enough. 32% of households in Columbia recycle. That's equal to the national average. But what about Columbia's liberal, green reputation? One city official says failed marketing campaigns may be to blame.
If we aren't getting the message out to the younger generation that then becomes, parents, I think that's maybe where we're missing our mark.
The city has launched several marketing campaigns in the past to try to increase recycling participation. The goal of the latest campaign was to raise participation 5%. The result was a 2% increase. The city currently operates on a dual-stream recycling system. That means residents must separate items rather than put them all together.
It only takes about 1 day to accumulate this many plastics in Columbia. It's important when you recycle plastics that you look at the bottom of the container for the triangle on the bottom. If there's number 1 or 2, you're good to go. If it's anything else, don't bother throwing it in the recycle bin. It's only going to go to the landfill.
According to Terrell, upgrading to a single stream where anything recyclable goes into one bag could increase overall recycling by 50%. However, the city does not currently have the money to invest in a new system. A bond issue could go on the ballot to expand the current operating system. Caroline Hecker, KOMU8 News, Columbia.
The city also offers drop-off centers to leave items any day of the week. To find the drop-off centers nearest you, go to our website, KOMU.com.
We are live in Ashland for the Southern Boone County Eagles and the School of the Osage Indians. Interviews with both head coaches coming up next on KOMU8 Sports at 6.
Now from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU8 Sports with Chris Gervino.
Well, we're back at Ashland, Southern Boone County High School, where the Eagles host the School of the Osage Indians tonight. So with me now, both head coaches. First, the visiting coach from Osage, Dan Henderson. Dan, a 0-2, tough start for your team. I know you've had a close game these first couple of weeks. You're really looking to get in the win column tonight, aren't you?
Well, it has been a tough couple of weeks. Mobley's awful good. Fulton's 2-0 right now, and we have played better, but we're going to have to play awfully well tonight to be in the game.
Southern Boone County had a win last week. What's the key to having success here on the road, you think?
Taking care of the football.
That is the most important stat, isn't it? Other than the score, I always say nothing like turnovers.
You can take care of it and run it a little bit, you'll have a chance.
Keep up the good work. I've admired your career for a long time. Van Far and now here at Osage for these years. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dan Henderson with me now is Roger Van de Zand from Southern Boone County. The Eagles 1-1. What a comeback against Holton Catholic last week. Just describe that game and how you brought your guys back last week.
Well, we had to listen to them celebrating a lot at halftime in their locker room, and we made several key adjustments and brought a couple kids in the game that hadn't played early in the game, and we did a great job in the third quarter especially.
Osage, of course, 0-2, but they've had some success over the years. What's the key to taking care of business on your home field tonight?
Well, we, just like Coach Henderson, we need to try to keep the football in our hands and move the ball, move the chains, and I think we'll be successful there.
What do you think about your ball club this year? I know you're just a couple weeks in.
We're really a very young team, actually. We have a few seniors, but we're really dominated by sophomores, underclassmen, and so we're learning quite a bit, and they're getting better week by week.
Roger, thanks for the hospitality. Good luck tonight the rest of the way.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Okay, Roger Van de Zand, the head coach of the Southern Boone County Eagles. We're getting ready for a good one, we think, here tonight on a beautiful night in Ashland. Of course, the Missouri Tiger football team has a bye before visiting Indiana next Saturday in Bloomington. The Mizzou volleyball team playing in Houston at the Rice Invitational this weekend. Today, the Tigers swept North Carolina State in 3 straight games, and they will play the host school Rice tonight. And the Mizzou soccer team kicks off in just a few minutes at 6:30 at Walton Stadium Stadium against Eastern Illinois. We'll have highlights of the soccer and high school football highlights galore from all over the state tonight. It's week 3 of Friday Night Fever. Now live from Ashland, Chris Gervino, KOMU 8 Sports.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News at 6 o'clock. It's week 3 of Friday Night Fever. We're here in Ashland. I have Dale Van Dieven. He is the principal of Soboco High School. I know it's been a very difficult week for you. I wish you all the very best of luck. And I want to ask you about your test scores here in Ashland. I understand they're on the way up.
Yes, they are, and thank you. It has been a tough week, but we have a great school and great students and community, and we'll persevere, and we're gonna grow stronger through this. But yeah, our test scores that were up. We had our ACT score, our second highest score in the history of the school. We beat the state average, so we're real happy about that. Our end of course test came back, and we tested in 8 areas, and in 6 of those we improved our scores. So we're really proud of that. It shows what the great school we have and students we have in our building.
Very good. And on the field, Soboco is going to win tonight?
Of course, 35-32. Expert prediction. I know.
Dale, thank you very much for your time.
What about our cheerleaders too, though?
They're coming up next.
They're
But
next.
first, we got to get a recap of the weather with Dave Schmidt.
And I can sum it up in one word: just beautiful. We're going to have a kickoff temperature at about 68 degrees with a light northerly breeze.
Okay, we're starting something new this week. We want to see your tweets and photos on our homepage. Send them to us through Twitter at KOMU News or KOMU Sports, or if it's easier, email them to shareit@komu.com. Follow the action around town right on your mobile phone or tablet. Be sure to check out our homepage for scores and highlights on this week 3 of Friday Night Fever. I think it's time to turn it over to the Soboco cheerleaders.
You got it.
State-bound cheerleaders.